V21.
Hello. Welcome to Honoring Veterans First. Support, Health, Wealth, and Heroes. This show is produced by the Young Entrepreneurs of the Universe, Veteran Initiatives. I'm your host and producer, Babette Payton. This particular show is about scuba diving for veterans and military. And it is exciting. I want to tell you, get ready. So you know what to do. Get on the phone, call all your friends and family members and tell them to turn us on. Stop flipping that channel. Get your pen and paper and write down our telephone number, 773-918-3419. That's 773-918-3419. Or email us at vetbizjobs@yahoo.com. That's vetbizjobs@yahoo.com. I just want to say one thing because people say, what do we stand for? We help veterans become heroes at home. So when you hear You Veteran Initiatives, I'm going to say what? You Veteran Initiatives helps veterans become heroes at home. And so that's why we have these wonderful men on here today from the organization called Diveheart.org. The first gentleman, his name is Mr. Jim Elliott. He is the founder and president of Diveheart. And with him is, hi, Jim.
Hi, good to see you.
Let me not get too much of a production as it's acknowledge such a wonderful person here. And with him is Master Gunnery Sergeant, or Master Sergeant Gunnery.
No,
I said it right?
Master Gunnery Sergeant.
Master Gunnery Sergeant Andrew Ryal. And he is on the board of Diveheart.
Yes, that is correct.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting us today.
All right, all right. Now, people, you've seen him. You remember Flipper, right? I know, but people were telling me about it, right? Or Underwater, 50,000 leagues under the sea. What was it? 100,000 leagues under the sea. Whatever it was, those are the people that had the mask. They had the big tanks on their back, the flippers on their feet. And they went down underwater and going. Well, I have been blessed to do that too. No, I never thought I could do it. I'm in a wheelchair, right? I don't walk. But guess what? With Diveheart, I went under the water. And so with that, I'm going to turn you over to Mr. Jim Elliott. Jim, tell us, what made you decide to start Diveheart?
Well, my daughter's blind from birth, and when she got to be about 9, she struggled with being mainstream with sighted kids. Sighted kids teased her on the playground, and you know, she just wanted to be like everybody else. That's all kids want, right? So she technically could read a 2-inch letter about a ½ an inch from her face, and she said, "Dad, you know, I can read. I'm like everyone else." So she threw down her cane and refused to learn Braille. And I was at WGN Radio at the time, and Floyd Brown, an announcer from WGN, heard my story and said, "Jim, I'm going to get you connected with the blind ski group." So I brought my daughter to this group, and after a couple of weeks, it was, you know, she would go to school, and people say, "Well, what'd you do this weekend, Aaron?" And she said, "Well, I went skiing." And they went, "Right, you're blind. How do you ski?" And she'd say, "No, here's the pictures." And they go, "Oh my God, that is so cool. You're blind and you ski. How do you do that?"
Yes.
And you saw a change happen almost immediately. All of a sudden, it was Aaron the skier, and not Aaron the blind kid. And she picked up Braille on her cane and excelled in grade school, middle school, high school, won awards, got scholarships, and I blame it on the skiing. And so since the 80s, I've been guiding and teaching blind skiers, and I thought, you know,
so you ski too?
I do, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I thought, if skiing is this powerful, I know what diving can do.
You dived before
I started diving in '76. I was a journalism major.
Okay.
And thought if I ever have
what
to...
school?
At Northern Illinois University.
Okay, DeKalb.
Yeah, I was recruited right out of school by the Chicago Tribune,
Okay.
and I thought, if there's, if I ever have a chance to interview someone like Jacques Cousteau, I better know how to dive, right?
Oh, wow.
And so I took diving, and I fell in love with that. I'm like, oh my God, this is incredible. This is like flying. In fact, we were just down in the Keys with CNN for 8 days, and we did a piece on Gold Star families who've lost loved ones in Iraq and Afghanistan. And also disabled vets. And we brought these two populations together, hoping they would face challenges together in this kind of scary, exciting environment, and really heal together.
Yeah.
But the CNN producer said, it hit it right on the head, and I'm surprised I hadn't thought of it before. He said, oh, I get it. He goes, I know what you guys are, scuba divers. He goes, you're the poor man's astronaut. And I went, oh my God. So, and that's it.
Wow.
It's like being an astronaut.
Wow, if you just tuned in, you're watching Honoring Veterans First. Support Health, Wealth, and Heroes, produced by the Young Entrepreneurs of the Universe, Veteran Initiatives. I'm your host and producer, Babette Payton, and this show is about scuba diving for veterans and military. And before I tell you who's on the show again, I forgot to tell you this. Besides getting on the phone, calling your friends and family members up, to tell them to tune in, or writing our number down or our email, any veteran that you see, whether they're a family member or not, or military, please take the time to say, thank you for your service. And if you're watching right now and you're a veteran or military, I want to thank you for your service. And I know you might hear it and say, that was a long time ago, or you might say, I wasn't in the war. It doesn't matter. Whether you served in peacetime or wartime, reserve, or National Guard, when you say I do to the military, your life could be required. You never know. Your mind, your limbs, doesn't matter. Even if you came out and you're okay, the fact is that it could be required. So I thank you. We thank you for your service. I just have to add that in. I want you to get in the habit of practicing that, because you might have some family members sometime that you say that to, and when they get down, they might just think about that. Somebody thinks I'm important. If you don't mind for me stopping to say that, Jim.
No, please.
To me, that's just so important.
Yeah, my dad and my uncle were disabled vets, so that's another reason that this is so important.
Praise God. So you got the scuba diving going, and people, if you go to his website, that website is www.diveheart, that's DIVEHEART.org, O-R-G. They got so many wonderful stories. They have the calendar. They have a lot of the footages from different news stations, etc., including the one he just talked about the CNN with the Gold Star families and the veterans, and with the Keys, Florida Keys.
Yeah, we were down in the Florida Keys, right.
Just phenomenal. He works with disabled youth too, so they do it a lot. But we're focusing on veterans and military. But just know, if you're disabled, their Diveheart organization has some opportunities for you or your family or someone you know. So tell us, how long ago did you start including veterans in your program?
From the very beginning. I left six-figure income in the media business to start helping people with disabilities. I thought if it worked in skiing, it could work in diving, and it's really been off the charts. In fact, it turns out this really isn't even about scuba diving. This is about helping people with disabilities imagine the possibilities in their life. And we don't discriminate when it comes to disabilities. We serve people with traumatic brain injuries and spinal cord injuries, and kids with autism and Down syndrome. They take to it like that. But really, most recently in the last year, we've had some vets that have had some incredible experiences with spinal cord injuries where they've been pain-free when diving, especially when we get to 40 or 60 feet at depth. They've come up and gone, oh my God, Jim, this is the first time I've been without pain, since my injury. So. Wow,
and I can say too that the fact that you can see your life differently, because now you're able to do something that somebody else probably said, you can't dive. How are you going to dive? You can't walk, or you can't talk, or you can hardly see, or you can't something. And you're able to do this. You're able to help people. It's like freedom. Wow, and Andrew, Master Gunnery Sergeant Andrew Ryal, board member of Diveheart. Tell us, how did you happen to get involved in Diveheart?
You know, it's a small world. I think I met Jim in 2004 at one of our expos, dive expos, and he was describing some of the things that he does with folks who have challenges, both mental and physical. Even though I was a diver, I've been a diver since 1975. I became a certified dive master in 1996. But even though I was a diver, what fascinated me was not so much that he was working with veterans, but the fact that he worked with folks with developmental challenges. I happen to be a retired bureau chief for the Department of Human Services, the Division of Developmental Disabilities.
Wow.
I was a bureau chief for that division for 10 years prior to retiring from the state.
Wow.
And my love for folks who have developmental disabilities was just off the charts. And to be able to include them in some of the things that I like to do through his organization
Yes.
was right up my alley.
Oh, praise the
And
Lord.
so it wasn't so much about being, you know, the veteran
Yes.
as it was the services that he was providing for the folks who were so dear and near to my heart.
Well,
as
that's wonderful. Well, so now you got the best of both worlds now, right?
Exactly.
And then let me ask you, so you're Marine, when were you in the service? If I can just deviate a little bit, Jim, you know, we always like
Sure.
to showcase a little bit our veterans here.
Right,
So,
right.
He deserves it. He
All
deserves
right.
it.
I joined, well, I was drafted into the Army.
Okay, was that during the Vietnam era?
Yes, ma'am. I was drafted into the Army in 1965.
What high school were you from?
Marshall High School from the west side of Chicago.
West
Yes, ma'am. Great west side.
Side.
But the thing was that I had promised, well, I wanted to go to the military because being from the west side of Chicago, we didn't have any Boy Scouts that were immediately available. And we had a boys club, okay, West Side Boys Club, but it wasn't like being in the Scouts. Well, I wanted to go to the military just to become a part of what the folks in the military do. I promised my mother, though, I would wait till I was 21.
But that didn't happen because they took you before, right?
No, ma'am, I was drafted at age 21.
Get up!
At the time, right, I waited 3 years, okay?
Wow.
And it just so happened that my friends found out that I was drafted and said, hey, Andrew, you know the Vietnam conflict is on. And if you go to the Army, the training may be 8, 10 weeks, and then you're off into the Nam. But if you go to the Marine Corps, you're going to be training at least 16 weeks before you get into country. You know? So you might want to consider that, since you're going. Okay, you are going, all right?
Yes.
Well, needless to say, I went to the recruiter and asked if he could switch. Okay, they had 10 days to report to Fort Riley, Kansas. But I asked him if they had a 2-year program. So Marines don't have 2-year programs. There's no such thing as a 2-year program. By the way, when do you have to report to Fort Riley, Kansas? I said in 10 days. He said, well, take this exam, and I'll go to the draft board, and I'll see if I can pull your information, and we can get you off. What I can do is let you decide the date that you want to go. So September 1st, I think it was, 1965, I was on a plane on my way to San Diego, California, Marine Corps
Wow.
Recruit Depot.
Well,
Yeah.
I tell you, San Diego is dear to my heart because
Yeah.
that's Chula Vista.
Yes,
Not
ma'am.
far from there, that's the Olympic training site.
Right, okay.
And as an archer,
Right.
that is just wonderful. I had to just
Right.
deviate a little bit and get a little
right.
little
All
Marine
right.
history. If you just tuned in, you're watching Honoring Veterans First, Support Health, Wealth, and Heroes, produced by the Young Entrepreneurs of the Universe. I'm your host, Babette Payton, and this show is about scuba diving. Scuba diving for veterans and the military. Of course, we have to get this telephone number in here, 773-918-3419. That's 773-918-3419. Email is vetbizjobs@yahoo.com. That's VETBIZJOBS yahoo.com. And again, this is the Scuba Diving Show with a wonderful guy who's the founder and president of Diveheart, Mr. Jim Elliott. To my right, and next to him, Mr. Master Gunnery, Andrew Ryal, who's a board member. Okay, we're going to switch back here to you, Jim, and you can kind of chime in.
Sure.
Okay. Now tell us about some of the, if you're a veteran right here and you're watching, or military on leave or whatever, how can you get involved in this, or somebody that knows someone? Because a lot of times we have people who are taking notes for a brother, sister, a cousin, a neighbor, a friend, or whatever.
Sure.
What would they do?
Well, I think the easiest way to do it and to spread the word is to simply go to diveheart.org.
Okay.
If you go to diveheart.org, and if you forget the name, think Braveheart, right? That movie.
Braveheart, Diveheart.
Right, that's how I try to...
Google it. Just Google Diveheart.
And
Scuba.
on the home page, in the top right corner, there's a video that ran on public television stations all over the country in April called Turning Point. And that Turning Point piece features 2 veterans from Hines VA.
Okay.
One with a traumatic brain injury and one with a spinal cord injury.
Okay.
And one's a Vietnam vet and one was about to deploy for Iraq when he suffered an injury. And that piece really does a great job of telling our story.
Yes.
And you can share that with people very easily by sending a link to them. And you know, we serve veterans all over the country. We've done programs.
See people, we're blessed to have them as jewels where we are. But they work all over the country, and I'm sure probably people are calling for him to come do things outside of the country. If they haven't, they will be soon.
Right, right. We've been fortunate. We've gotten grants from the Department of Veterans Affairs and also Rotary District 6450. I'm a Rotarian, and the Rotary District, our home district, 64.
Is that down this road?
Well, it's 64 clubs in the Chicagoland area. So 64 communities, and they chose Diveheart as their charity of choice, along with a homeless veterans charity. And what they'll do is they'll help us get equipment like this.
Okay, let's show people. Take a look, people.
This is something that really helps individuals that Andrew was talking about scuba dive and give them an experience in this zero gravity environment.
Yeah.
And what we hope will happen is this, you know, a patient could wear this and a therapist could wear this, and they could do physical therapy in a zero gravity environment. So they could work on Johnny's range of motion. And
in the water?
Right, and they don't have to worry about him keeping a regulator in his mouth. So veterans with traumatic brain injuries, kids with autism, Down syndrome, any kind of cognitive disability, this is perfect for. It allows a whole new population to go diving. And in fact, we have a diver who is on a ventilator, and his respirator hose comes into his dry suit, and it comes up into his trach, and he's able to dive. And if you go to our website and look at some of the videos, you'll see that.
Wow.
You want to try that out?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, he's going to try it on. While he's doing that, remember, get on the phone and call your friends and family members. Tell them to tune this in. This is an awesome program, people. Diving in the water. People sometimes they can't even walk on land, have a hard time breathing, you know, have a hard time staying focused. But they can go down with trained buddy divers, and navigate the waters underwater, and feel free, and have a new sense and purpose of being. It is truly a wonderful event. Now we have our Master Gunnery Sergeant Andrew Ryal right now, who's on the board that's demonstrating one of the masks. And I imagine eventually they'll have an adopt a mask program where you can help to get one of these for, you know, so they can serve more people. Because I'm sure looking at something like this is not cheap, but it's not beyond the realm of the average person that works every day could help to sponsor something like this.
Right, exactly, yeah.
So,
this is about $1,200 a copy with all the things we do.
So,
Yeah, this is, for example, I'll show you, this is the regulator here, where you could push in here and air would come into the mask. This is a communication button here. And over on this side, over Andrew's ear, is where he hears. So when I wear my mask and I push this button, Andrew can hear me. Then when I release this button, then he can push his button and talk.
Oh, so
And
you
the
can talk
hose-
underwater too.
Well, that's, yeah, it's with communications. Firefighters use it, and military use it as well. And then this hose, the hose comes in here, and
Yeah.
it's a quick release, so we can take it off and take the mask off quickly if we have to.
Oh, that is so wonderful. This is just wonderful. And people, I just tell you, the feeling that you get from going down there, you just have to show up. Once there's paperwork you have to do, and your doctor has to sign off on paperwork, because obviously they're still responsible for things. But a disability by itself, you know, in most cases will still allow you to be able to go down. A lot of times people don't understand adaptive sports. They say, oh, you can't do this because you can't walk, or you can't do this. That's evolving. We need more training for people, doctors, therapists, etc. They need to go to your site to see.
Right.
You know, they need to go to a lot of these adaptive sites to see, because some people are a little bit behind times, but they're going to catch up. And if you have a desire, you know somebody that is like, even from your church, everybody has a church they go to, there's somebody there, some children there, some veterans there could benefit from something like this. And it's not just to benefit people from like physical, it is also those intangibles, is that right?
Oh, absolutely. It's, I mean, I did this to build confidence, independence, and self-esteem. And then we're finding out that it's physical therapy in a zero-gravity environment. Pressure is a benefit for kids with autism, and it's inherently hyperbaric. When you go down, pressure increases. So for some reason, kids with autism take to it like that. And we're talking to researchers at Duke University Medical Center and other researchers we're working with here in the Chicagoland area, Midwestern University and Chicago School of Psychology, about giving 100% oxygen at shallow depth. So now you can get oxygen therapy, hyperbaric therapy, and physical therapy in a zero-gravity environment. And we're just starting to measure those things with these organizations. And what it's going to do, Babette, is it's going to revolutionize rehabilitation. And what we want to do here in Chicago is build a facility that is basically a fishless aquarium where loved ones can go.
So we're going to have a fish, we're going to have an aquarium down here. You're going to see people gurgling past. It might be somebody you know saying, hi! But in a suit, right?
And you know, you've done it.
Yes, it is. It's wonderful, people. I'm going to tell you, it's wonderful. I miss it. I have to get back into the water. And I want to tell you, I was a little intimidated when I came to the pool, because we started off in a pool, and I saw the people in the outfits, and they were in the water, and I was trying to figure out, when I first came through the door, how I was going to get from my chair into that water, into those suits. And they had people to help me get dressed. I had a bathing suit, and they helped me put this what do you call it, wetsuit on?
Wetsuit, right.
A wetsuit on, and then they helped me to get into the water, put my feet in these little fins, and the head on, and I mean, they help you all the way through, and there's a lot of people there to help you, so you don't have to feel that you're on your own. They have dive buddies, right? We have 5 minutes to go. I'm sorry.
If I could just add to that.
Yes.
Because you were mentioning the pool.
Yes.
With that, the divers, all of us, we're not just limited to a pool. Because some folks in the viewing audience may be asking, where do you do this at? This is Chicago.
That's a
You
good
talk about
point.
Out in the lake where the water is 30 degrees. Well, we start in the pool.
Yes.
And then we generally go to Hague Quarry. As a matter of fact, for those who are in your viewing audience right now, we're having a picnic, a Diveheart Foundation picnic, Sunday, June 16th. And we'll September 16th. And we're welcoming all of the veterans in your viewing audience to come out and see exactly what we do.
Now, can I come out? Those of us in wheelchairs, can we come out there?
Yes, ma'am, for
Absolutely.
sure.
Oh, well,
For
that's
sure.
good. Well, maybe
That's
if I'm here, I would love to come.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, because Hague Quarry is user-friendly. Those folks that are not ambulatory, you know, we are able to ambulate, or not necessarily ambulate,
Right, but help them to get down
help them
there.
to get down
Now,
there.
where is that from here? Because we can wind it down.
Hague Quarry is 62 miles from downtown Chicago.
Now, will
located-
Pace take us down there, or the train take us down? How would we
Unfortunately
get
not.
there?
It's to my understanding that Pace will only take you as far as
Okay.
the city limits, and then you have to make arrangements to...
Okay, so
Yeah,
we'll have to make some kind of
Right.
travel arrangement. People, that's something we're going to work on for the disabled people that are in
Right.
wheelchairs. We're going to work on for just any kind of sport, getting some kind of transportation to get
Right.
there. because they have wonderful programs.
Right.
Just wonderful. And this is one of the examples of wonderful. You can take advantage of them here,
Right.
and if we can make some arrangements, we can get there too.
And then just one other
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
okay? We leave the Chicago area, the pools, to Hay Quarry, to Cozumel. Veterans go to Cozumel with us. Veterans go to Florida Keys.
Now that's what the
With us.
veterans want to hear. You hit vacation.
Right.
Hey, in the warm weather.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Am I saying it right?
Right. Well, the visibility
Oh.
is 100 feet.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, look, people, I just have to have Mr. Jim Elliott say one last word here before we get our little station ID in here. But this won't be the last time you hear from him. He's promised me he'll come back. And then maybe we can get a chance if we go portable to get to some of the places where he is. And that would be just absolutely wonderful. Jim Elliott, founder and president of Diveheart Scuba.
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity. And, you know, if you're born with a disability, you've been told your whole life a lot of times you can't do stuff. You can't play basketball because you're blind. You can't do this. If you have a traumatic injury, you're no longer the man or woman that you were. So it's dealing with that and coping with that. And this is a therapy that helps you deal with those. And the transition back to your new normal is challenging. And this is one that 99.9% of the people in the world don't dive, and that's why it's so cool when
Praise
someone with a
God.
disability does. The cool factor is off the charts.
All right. Thank you,
Thank you.
Jim. And Andrew, you have one last word you want to say?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Diveheart.org.
All right. Thank you so much.
ma'am.
You have been watching Honoring Veterans First, Support Health, Wealth, and Heroes, produced by the Young Entrepreneurs of the Universe, Veteran Initiatives, helping veterans become heroes at home. I'm your host, Babette Payton. Our phone number is 773-918-3419. That's 773-918-3419. Or email us at vetbizjobs@yahoo.com. That's vetbizjobs@yahoo.com. We have a blog that we need to update. I'm kind of embarrassed because they have such fabulous stuff on their website. But I'm going to give it anyway because we have a few more minutes than I thought. It's vetbizjobs.blogspot.com. That's vetbizjobs.blogspot.com. And I just want to say thank you for your service, for all of you. I love you. We love you. We want to say a special thank you to the Diveheart organization for all the wonderful things they do, and a board member and our veteran over here, our Marine. Being Army, you know, I have this special shout out for Marines too, you know. But I've just been blessed to have met the Diveheart organization and Mr. Jim Elliott and know firsthand of his love for what he does, and to see Mr. Andrew Ryal and to see what he brings to the table in terms of his skill as well as his love for helping also veterans. Veterans in the military, you know, just another thing that you have to deal with. Remember to call, write, and visit diveheart.org. Until the next time, remember, send us any information, any names of people or organizations you'd like us to feature here, or you think that should be honored. Let us know. We'd like to do that because everybody deserves to get access to products, services, and opportunities to improve the quality of their life and get a piece of this American dream. You said I do? More than one way, right? Will you serve? God bless you. Love you.